fans are making a lot of noise at AT&T Stadium.
Anything that moves between these lines, got to get dealt with.
They hand it to Pollard. He comes running out the right side. Deep to the post to Lamb. At the 5 to the goal line.
Dallas Cowboys Game Night is presented by AT&T, the official 5G innovation partner of the Dallas Cowboys. Miller Lite, the only beer of the Cowboys. It's Miller time. And by NFL Game Pass. You'll never miss a game again. Enjoy full and condensed game replays from Week 1 to the Super Bowl.
The final spot in the NFL's divisional round weekend belongs to the Dallas Cowboys. 31-14 on the road at Raymond James Stadium, their first road playoff victory since 1993. 30 years of losses on the road in the postseason has come to an end as the Cowboys take down Tom Brady and the Buccaneers, ending their season and setting up a date with the San Francisco 49ers next Sunday afternoon. Welcome into Cowboys Game Night. Thanks for staying up with us. Alongside Nate Newton, I'm Kyle Yeomans here from the Globe Life Studios at the Star in Frisco. Nate, it was an unbelievable showing for Dak Prescott. He had struggled, had his ups, his downs, his turnovers throughout the year. Instead, he comes back, 5 total touchdowns in their first ever win over Tom Brady, and also the defense showed up quite a bit as well.
Oh, you know what? In games like this, you need your quarterback to be at his best. 4 touchdowns, one he ran in. He saw the field clearly. He took advantage of his tight end, Dalton Schultz. I mean, where you been, baby? You showed up big today for 95 yards, 2 touchdowns. And, yes, CeeDee Lamb was CeeDee Lamb, eating up coverage so things can go underneath the Tony Pollard and the Schultz. Dak had a beautiful game. Dak. That's my rookie Dak. I love you, baby. Yes.
You've been calling for rookie Dak to show up since 2017 here on the set from the Star in Frisco. Let's see how this one unfolded. The Cowboys on the road against the Buccaneers, and both offenses really struggled to get started. Multiple 3-and-outs, but on the Cowboys' third drive of the game, Dak Prescott finds an Dalton Schultz for 6.
Yeah, he dropped back. I think a 5-step drop. Hit the top of his deal and just threw it to Schultz.
Dallas up 6-0 after a missed PAT. Tampa Bay was knocking on the door, but on the second play of the second period, a tipped Brady pass was picked off by J-Ron Kearse.
I think he was just really trying to throw this away because he had a little pressure. But J-Ron Kearse played it all the way through.
On the next drive, 4th down and goal, Dallas elects to go for it. It was the right decision. Dak Prescott rolls out and he rolls in to give the Cowboys a 12-0 lead after another defensive stop. Dallas into a 2-minute drill, rolling to his left. They didn't need the final 34 seconds. All they needed was Dalton Schultz for a second time.
And this is the Dak I'm talking about. Just having that instinct to move around and to make a play. This is the guy that uses his legs well.
Now, Dallas up 18-0. However, Brett Maher missed his 3rd PAT of the first half. Cowboys still up by 3 scores into the break. After a defensive stop, Dallas on their opening possession of the third. His phenomenal game continues. Dak with a dime to Michael Gallup, his 4th touchdown of the game, and it gave Dallas a 24-0 lead. There were some question marks here on whether or not Michael Gallup stayed in bounds. They reviewed it, said he stayed in bounds, and the ball even touched the hands of the defensive back. So either way, it's a touchdown for the Cowboys. Tampa would show a little bit of life in the final play of the third period. Brady having to chuck this one deep for Julio Jones. What a ball this was on the left sideline. The Buccaneers go for 2, but didn't get it to keep the lead at 18. Into the 4th quarter we go. Cowboys can put it away on their next drive, and they do. Dak to CeeDee, who was wide open and walked into the end zone.
And with 2 guys crossing, they confused the linebacker and the safety, and he just walked in. Great call, Kellen Moore.
Dak Prescott becomes the 3rd quarterback to throw 4 touchdowns in a playoff game in Cowboys franchise history, joining Roger Staubach and Troy Aikman. On the final real shot for Tampa to give some love to the defense, they made another stop, forced a wide throw. Tampa would add a touchdown later in the 4th quarter, but by that point, the game was out of reach. Dallas wins their first road playoff win in 30 years, and they set up a date with the San Francisco 49ers. 31-14, the final score with the win in Tampa Bay. Here's some of the final stats. The Cowboys, both phases, offense, defense. We'll talk a little special teams because Brett Maher had a shaky day.
Yes.
He was able to fix it at the end, but either way, Cowboys come out on top with a 31-14 win. When we come back, we hear from Mike McCarthy, who just secured his first playoff win as a member of the Dallas Cowboys. We hear from the head coach when we come back on more Cowboys Game Night.
This segment is brought to you by the Texas Lottery. If you have a lucky quarter, it could pay off big when you play the new Cowboys scratch ticket game from the Texas Lottery.
Despite all of his postseason success as a head coach in the NFL, Mike McCarthy had not seen a playoff win since 2016. It was January 15th, so 7 years ago yesterday against the Dallas Cowboys, the last time he was victorious in the playoffs. That streak comes to an end as well as Cowboys take down the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 31-14. Here's what the head coach had to say following the win.
All right.
Well, I think it's just like anything, it starts in your preparation, and you always want to see it carry over into the game. But, to a man, everybody had great confidence in what we needed to do tonight. And I thought, offense and defense played, at a very high level this evening. So the key was just really staying true to the game plan. We wanted to be balanced on offense. I think we accomplished that. We tried to get going there. On the first series, had a couple, with 3 incompletions, but then once we settled in, I felt like we did what we needed to do. They played some overload defense. We saw some 6-2 fronts, out of the 4-3 personnel. So they challenged us in the box, and we were still able to stay committed to the run game and grind it out. And defensively, I just thought we were all over them as soon as we got off the bus. I mean, I just thought our defense really set the tempo for the game, for a couple 3 and outs there to start the game, and just did a great job.
Mike Archer, ESPN. You've seen a lot of great playoff performances from quarterbacks. How good was Dak tonight?
I mean, as good as I've seen, that's for sure. I think just like anything, he's so consistent in everything he does, and like I said, we had a couple plays there early, but I mean he was on it the rest of the evening. I thought he was, Kellen and, the play calling, we just really stayed true to what we wanted to do in here. And like I said, I thought he played extremely well and, stayed aggressive and, took the check downs. I thought he had great command of the offense and excellent presence in the pocket. Well, I just think it's, starts up front with our big guys. Obviously we lost Jason Peters there, in the game, and then just to go in there and just to keep rolling. So, like I said, they were really challenging the box defensively. So we had our variation of scheme was higher than normal, and it's just a real credit to our players and coaches.
Lots of credit to be given for Mike McCarthy, and then also the coaching staff. Offensive coordinator Kellen Moore, possibly one of his best games as a play caller. Dan Quinn shutting down Tom Brady for the majority of that game. Who deserves the majority of the credit just based off of this performance alone?
Coach Mike McCarthy. I said it last week and I've said it this week. For what he's been through, coming through the COVID the way he did. Now he's put back-to-back 12-win seasons. He's won a playoff game, not only a playoff game, but on the road against one of the greatest players to don a uniform in Tom Brady. My hat goes off to Coach Mike McCarthy and his staff.
He's going to have a chance to take down the one team that handed him a playoff loss as a Dallas Cowboys head coach, that San Francisco team, next week. When you look back at this game, what's going to stand out to you the most on the way that they performed? I
think the way the offensive line played and the way the defensive line played. They held them to 52 yards. I know they're not a good run team, but this is a playoff team, so we held them down in the run, and my hat goes off to Dak. Yes, sir.
And Dak Prescott, of course, with a phenomenal stat line. We're going to hit that on the other side of the break. We're also going to hear from QB1 following a 5-touchdown performance. 4 through the air, 1 on the ground. When we come back, more Cowboys game night coming in just a moment.
This segment was brought to you by the Texas Lottery. If you have a lucky quarter, it could pay off big when you play the new Cowboys scratch ticket game from the Texas Lottery.
Following what could have been classified as Dak Prescott's worst regular season performance of his career, 1 week later, just over a week later, he might possibly have his best playoff performance throughout his young NFL career. Here's what QB1 Dak Prescott had to say following the 31-14 win over Tampa Bay.
Well, that's where the other ones are at. So, yeah, I saw that. That was strategic of me. Yeah, McCarthy taught me that one.
John. Yeah, did you know going into this game that you're about to have that type of game?
In a sense, yeah. Prepared. Prepared well. I knew, obviously, watching tape what this team was going to be able to create matchups, what we're going to be able to do. But, yeah.
Was that Washington game any extra motivation?
In a sense, I mean, I guess, yeah, I got away from the way that I play this game, got greedy, tried to just force some throws, try to take the big ones, and that's not who I've been throughout my career. Obviously, just taking what they give me, waiting on the big shot, and I think it was uncharacteristic. So yeah, sure, it was a way for me to just dial back in. But at the sense, I mean, I wiped that clean and just I knew what this game meant. I knew how important it was for us, and just, as I said, prepared.
Obviously, you had a fantastic game, which helped lead the offense to having a resilient bounce back from Washington. But talk about the defense and just how you guys played off of each other.
Yeah, I mean, defense, after the first two possessions, I mean, without them going to do what they do, creating those 3 and outs and just giving us the ball right back, it could be a different story. So, I mean, as you said, complimentary football. And that's the way it's been when this team is on fire. And when this team is on, they make stops, we go and turn it into points, and just got to continue to build off of that. And when we're able to do that, tough team to beat.
Coming off the game where you saw 3 11 and outs, start the game 2 3 and outs, and then back it up with 2 back-to-back touchdowns. How did you stay steady so that this game didn't go the same direction?
Preparation and easy, just knowing what this group's capable of doing, not getting frustrated within, and I can't say that I didn't do that last week. There was a little bit of frustration, but this week, knowing that I couldn't allow that to get in my head, I couldn't allow me to change the way that I played this game. I obviously credit the defense for, as I said, getting us the ball right back after those 2 possessions, and just told the offense in the huddle, hey, we get 1 first down and this thing's going to roll. And that's exactly what happened. So, yeah, we just got to continue to do that.
Could you speak to the use of your mobility and athleticism? I mean, it was almost like the way you played early in your career.
Yeah, I mean, I knew I was going to have to do that coming in. I've told you all along when the time's needed, I'm going to do that. And, yeah, I feel good, blessed to feel this healthy this late in the season. Credit to those guys up front and just – as I said, just watching tape, knowing those opportunities were going to come, and just tried to go stay ahead of the chains to keep this offense in good position.
25 of 33, 305 yards and 4 touchdowns. You look at the efficiency in terms of third down conversions, the balance on the ground versus the air, and really just the overall efficiency of this offense, time of possession, all the way up and down the list. They had a phenomenal performance. It starts with Dak Prescott, but who else deserves some of the credit?
I'm telling you, when we started pregame, and I kept telling people all weekend pregame, it's going to be what our offensive line can do. And Peterson played up until like the midway of the third quarter. He went out, and everybody went back home. Tyler Smith back to your left tackle, Connor McGovern back to your left guard, and they had Biotish at the center. We struggled a little bit early against Vita Vale, but we pulled ourselves together. What I was looking for was not so much the sacks, but I was looking for a clean pocket. Dak had a clean pocket the majority of the time, and then when he didn't and he couldn't find a check down, he took off and ran. That was a perfect game for our offensive line.
It kept the defense off balance. It kept the confidence high for Dak Prescott overall, and they were able to get the win. Now, it was a physical game, and some are asking, what is the update on safety J-Ron Curse? Well, we'll tell you when we come back here on Cowboys Game Night. We'll hear from him himself. Tom Brady, since he joined the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, has only thrown one interception in the red zone, and that one interception was to Ron Kearse. He left the game late in the fourth quarter. However, here's what he had to say when talking to the media following the win over Tampa Bay.
Just playing my man, and got my eyes back to the quarterback, seeing him get ready to throw it, and when he threw it, turned and seen it was close enough for me to get, and just try to make sure I stay in bounds. And really.
What's different about Tampa's offense compared to last year when you played down here and you were involved in that shootout?
It's really not much of a difference. It's not much of a difference. I can't speak for what's going on with the offense, but you know, they're not running anything different than we went up against them in 21, and then just last year. It's not anything different than they've been running.
How's your knee feeling?
It's feeling all right. I'll be good. Feeling all right. I'll be all right.
I know you've mentioned during the course of the season how tough the season ending was against San Francisco last year. Is it gratifying knowing that you'll get a chance to, exercise some of that against them in the playoffs next week? Yeah, definitely. We get to right our wrongs. We wrote one tonight. We get to write another one tomorrow. Next week. So, it's all just about us doing our job. Like I said, coming into this week, doing our job, reading our keys, getting our eyes on the right thing, and we can go out there and play with anybody.
Just curious from a defensive player's perspective, what you saw in Dak tonight, scoring 5 touchdowns.
I loved it. Loved it. Just to see his confidence. The spotlight was on him. And he showed up in the spotlight. A lot of people would have wanted him to go out there and fold under the pressure, but he stood up, and he was the best quarterback on the field tonight.
The interception for Kearse in the first half was a huge key moment in the fact that the Cowboys held momentum, held the lead, and were able to take that into the halftime break and then ultimately to the final score. They're going to need more key moments like that next week in the divisional round against the San Francisco 49ers. We preview the matchup and wrap things up on Cowboys Game Night.
Dallas Cowboys Game Night was presented by AT&T, the official 5G innovation partner of the Dallas Cowboys. Reliant, an NRG company. And by NFL Game Pass. You'll never miss a game again. Enjoy full and condensed game replays from Week 1 to the Super Bowl.
The Cowboys will certainly take some time to celebrate this 31-14 win over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the wild card round, but not too much time because they've got a challenge awaiting in a short week, a Sunday afternoon football matchup, 5:30 on Sunday against the San Francisco 49ers, the same team that bounced the Cowboys from the wild card round a year ago. Now this time the Cowboys will travel to San Francisco and continue that playoff rivalry. As we wrap things up with Nate Newton, I'm Kyle Yeomans on Cowboys Game Night. What do you want to see this week from the Cowboys? Not too high, not too low. What are you talking about heading into the matchup with San Francisco?
Just be intense, to continue to prepare. Understand it's a one-game deal. You have only 2 penalties this past game. You rushed for over 100 yards. Your quarterback was almost had a perfect quarterback rating. Your defense played lights out. Try to duplicate that and take it one notch higher, because that's what the 49ers bring at Levi Stadium, just unadulterated anger.
So with that being said, a lot of the motivation to getting a win today was from the wild card round loss a year ago. Do you think this motivation now only grows through the next 6 days?
It does, and it's going to matter who's going to want to get the most bloodiest, Kyle. If the Cowboys want to get the most bloodiest, they'll win the game. If not, that other team will almost win.
What does the 49ers-Cowboys rivalry mean to you really quickly?
It's everything. It was the world. Once we played that game, the Super Bowl was just an afterthought. Yes, sir.
Now you've got to play that again. The playoff rivalry continues. This time a spot on the NFC Championship bout is on the line. Cowboys 49ers coming up at 5:30 on Fox Sunday afternoon. But for Nate Newton, I'm Kyle Yeomans. Again, the Cowboys win it in dominating fashion over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, 31-14, and we'll break it down next week, win or lose for the Cowboys, with more Cowboys Game Night.
You do.